Hi, this is Tanya from Love Buddha Tarot, back with the Oracle cards for the 2nd of November 2016. Um, Lovely card. Well, I don't know if they're lovely cards today. I prefer the second one rather than the first one, but they're interesting. That's what I want to say with them. So the first one, I've used the Osho deck again because, like I say, I said I was going to. I love the Osho deck, and they're always very, very insightful. So the first card that we have is conditioning. Now, what interests me with this card is if we have a look at it there's all these nice little innocent sheep with the nice little smiles on their faces and looking all sort of cute. And there's the lion who's in the middle who just doesn't look very happy. He doesn't look ferocious or anything like that, but he just doesn't look happy if you can see his face there. Now, believe it or not, this card is actually associated with the devil. So we all know what the devil is like. The devil is temptation. The devil is bondage, being tied to things and stuff like that, And the devil is usually destruction or self-destruction in some way. So when we do anything that is um destructive to ourselves, that is when the devil comes in. It can often mean drink, drugs, things like that. It's like there's a knowing that something isn't right, but still going along with it, even though it's detrimental to you. So this is why I think this is interesting. And what's interesting within this is the sheep here are actually counting for the devil. Now you wouldn't think that looking at them, but that's the way it is. But this card is called conditioning. And, like I say, it's very different to the traditional tarot. But, this is about conditioning from people, conditioning from society, and this card brings in a call to liberate yourself from this, to free yourself from the chains, to cut the chains that are binding you. If we have a look there, we can see that the lion is actually tied here, to one of the sheep's legs, and we can see all of these. They look like quite like ghost sheep in the background. And I think the more you look into this card, the more sinister it looks, rather than initially on first look, and it's like, oh, isn't that sweet, all them little sheep. But like I say, the more you look into it, and especially if you look behind here, I feel that it has got a bit of a sinister feel here. Now, what this card is actually talking about and what it's trying to depict in this is the old fable, and what the fable was the lion was actually raised as a sheep, and the lion done everything that the sheep done, and he thought he was one of them and he thought he was like them. Now, sheep are beautiful creatures, but they don't have any like ambition really, They just follow the flock and they need to be part of something, and they need to be told what to do. So in the fable, one day, the lion is approached in wherever they are. I was going to say jungle there. I don't know if it's the jungle. I don't know. I don't know if you have sheep in the jungle, do you? But anyway, the lion is approached by another lion. And rather than attack him, what the lion done was actually took this lion to the lake and made him look into the lake so that he could see his own reflection. Within doing this, the lion seen his true self for what he was. He wasn't a sheep, he didn't even look like them. Um, when he seen this, when he seen who he was, he let out a roar for the first time ever and then was never a sheep again. And it only took that split second just for the realization, right, okay, I'm not one of them, I'm standing proud within myself. Now, it's quite a beautiful story, this, but it is a sad one as well, because a lot of times within life, we are given our personalities by other people. I'm sure this was mentioned in the card yesterday, about how we play roles, within life to be accepted, to fit in, and to keep a sort of status quo as well, And what this card is saying is that we have expectations laid on us about who people want us to be or who people expect us to be, and we become conditioned to the label that is given us. What this does is then this restricts us and doesn't allow us to see who we truly are, like the lion. Or even if we sort of have that little inkling, we tend to forget it because we think, oh, it's just a pipe dream, or no, this is what you do, you follow the flock. But in meeting this other lion, this was this lion's biggest gift. He recognized himself, and in that single moment, he was transformed and was free to break the shackles. You know, now these shackles had restricted him from being his true self for years. But before this, he'd been trapped in the misconception of who he was and how his life should be. So it's sort of like being a bit of a slave, you know, and this is what a lot of us are to society as well. We're slaves to society. We're told what we did, what to do. You know, we get these things telling us what to buy, and it's, come on, you need this because your life will be so much better if you buy this, and you know, and so we're sold on a lot of on a daily basis, and you know, it's all about this need to fit in. Now the way I see it is, why do you want to fit in? You know, because you were born to stand out. You know, that is the way we should be living our lives, you know. And like I say, this lion was trapped in the misconception of who he was, you know, and he'd never heard his own roar. His true potential had really been suffocated, but on seeing his own reflection, that had actually freed him. So to live a life like this is actually pretty tragic. You know, I talk about life all the time, and I talk about we only have one. This is not a dress rehearsal, you know, and we need to go out and we need to make the most of it, because life is a massive, massive gift that has been bestowed upon us, and we owe it to the creator, if need be, as well as ourselves, to live it to its true potential. But you will never truly be able to live unless you are allowed to live as yourself, you know, to explore the depths of who you are, and then be confident to live according to your rules and not just follow the flock, or, you know, go by the rules that are dictated. I get told a lot of time, I got called a communist hippie off my aunt the other day, which was quite funny. I found that quite amusing, considering that she had actually just voted for Donald Trump. But I'll not get into that because I don't like to bring politics into that. But, you know, throughout my life, I have been told on numerous occasions to just live in the real world, Tanya. And as I've mentioned before, to me, the real world is the most fake place there is, you know. So I'm so pleased that I don't live in the real world. But what this card is saying, I'll get back to that. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent there. So the freedom that this lion, you know, has found, it does come with a price, but it is a small, small price to pay to find his inner lion strength here. When your soul is set free, your life changes beyond measure. And it's like, have you ever met a free soul? You know, someone who doesn't live by society's rules, who will not live their lives in the way others dictate to them or others tell them to. A lot of people, like I say, I'm a communist hippie apparently, but you know, a lot of time, you know, people deem them as anarchists, but it's not, it's activists, you know. They believe in their truth, they believe in their words, and their words and their actions coincide with their cause. This is a real interesting thing, you know. When anybody is saying anything to you, please look, are their words and actions in alignment? You know, because there's so many words are very, very cheap, you know, and words can come, you know, words can just spill out, but the actions need to back them up as well, you know. And within this, within a free soul will not want to fight, but they will want to fight for freedom. That is it, you know, and that will be a peaceful fight, you know, a peaceful warrior. Charles Bukowski, he sums this up beautifully in one of something that he wrote, and he said, the free soul is rare. You know it though when you see it, basically because you feel good, very good, when you are near them or with them. So this card, what this is saying today, like I say, remember it's the devil, so you know there's temptation around with it. But what this card is saying is urging you to look at areas of your life where you are stifling your raw, you know, and look at living your life to its true potential, and how to find the strength to be yourself and embrace your individuality as well. You know, to free your soul and to seek out other free souls who complement and enhance your journey as well. So this is a thing as well, you know, look at people around you who is your journey, your journey is life. When I talk about journey, this is what I talk about. Is your journey enhanced by having them as travel partners, or is it actually sort of, you know, does it cause more problems, you know? So this is what you're needing to look at, you know, what enhances you, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad, and this is what you need to take on your journey with you, I mean, anything that is going to make you sick on that journey, you don't want to take it. It's something that is going to make you feel good and make you enjoy the ride. That is, that is sort of a good thing to put in your travel bag, if that makes sense. So when Osho talks about this card, what he says is that every one of you is born a lion, but the society goes on conditioning you, programming your mind as a sheep. It gives you a personality, a cozy personality, nice, very convenient, but very obedient. Society wants slaves, not people who are absolutely dedicated to freedom. Society wants slaves because all the vested interests want obedience. Are you ready to turn around and swim against the tide? Because only when you do this will your true strength begin to show. And when we embrace our individuality and live an authentic life, that is when we truly shine. Dare to be different, find yourself, find your voice, and find your tribe. So, like I say, it's for initially looking like a lovely little sweet card. It has a lot of depth and a lot of meaning within it, that one. So that is there, and I really feel because I'm sorry, the reason I have two cards today is because when I went to shuffle the deck, two actually fell out on the floor, so they are the ones that I picked. I didn't just pick two cards, these are the ones that fell out. But the conditioning, the conditioning is there. It's for some reason, I don't know. I feel that that's sort of a past thing because the way they came out, it was this card first and then that one. So, like I say, I do feel that is something that is or something that was. But then the other one that came out with it, and this is the one I like. I really really like this one. And if we have a look at that, it's called maturity, and it just has such a nicer feel than the first one that I've read there. So when we look at this card, maturity, I mean, maturity means to grow, doesn't it? And this is what we're meant to do in life. We're meant to grow. We're not meant to stay at the one level. Life is all about growing, and everything that we experience within life is leading us to this, and with growth comes change, but with change comes growth, so it's like they work together with this. And what this card is saying, if we have a look at it, it's absolutely beautiful imagery, is that you have come a long way. You have come a long way and you are now very wise and you've seen it all. But rather than growing tired and worn with it, this is whatever you have experienced is making you emerge strong and vibrant. I mean, if you have a look at the colors in this, they're beautiful. And it's saying that at this moment, you stand in a position of great knowledge and you seem to understand why things are the way they are. And, this is helping you to navigate through these changes that you're experiencing. So, that you are facing changes right now. And at one point, these changes would have massively thrown you, but it's saying now you can hold firm and steady without being faltered within them. So this card is saying, remember to be stable and centered no matter what comes your way, and do not let external forces change you internally. Because if we have a look here, this person is within this circle, and yes, their head's all flowers, there's all the colors of the chakras and all the colors of the rainbows there, because this is the Ace of Rainbows as well. But if we have a look, their body is also filled with these flowers and filled with this color. But then when we look at the outside of it, it looks rather bleak. So the world outside of this person, actually, I mean, this is like it's sort of like a dark winter. I'm sort of getting, when you see these horror films and they're walking into the woods and it's dark and it's misty and it's scary, and you're sitting looking at the telly going, be careful, don't go there, don't go there, But like I say, this is what is going on around them, but they are filled with color here. So what this card is saying to you as well is, go inward. Inward is where you will find your answers, and there's a lot of things, like I say, do not let the external forces change you here, and it's all about how you approach things and your attitude. but your attitude has changed recently, but it's changed for the better. I think you're seeing things differently. When we start to wake up and when our eyes start to open, we become more colourful, but we start to see things more colourful as well. We see the world in a different light. Things that were hidden from us at one time, suddenly become clearer. A lot of times these are things that we don't want to see as well, but we need to see them. We need to see things as they are and not how we think that they are, because there is usually a big, big difference. And once you start ascension, once you start to wake up, this is what happens, and this is why sometimes their life changes very quickly and very there's a lot of things need to be let go of, because when you suddenly become aware that something you thought was something isn't, it's very, very hard to unsee. So like I say, this is what this is talking about. When this card has happened, this is the maturity, this is the growth that is coming. So it is a wonderful, wonderful reminder, though, this card, that we are constantly changing and maturing, just like a flower, where we're blossoming in a way. And if we have a look, this figure in this card is not in any way worried about this change or anything like that. They're at peace. Their eyes are closed. They're going inward. They're growing, and they're growing from within, and they know. And they know that they are growing, So this is it's such a beautiful card. This, they know that they are at one with nature. So, just like the trees grow, just like the flowers all grow on their own, and mature. We do this as well, and this is part of nature's cycle, and true maturity doesn't happen overnight. It's slow and steady. So this card is so meaningful because it can help you to realize ways in which you've changed and ways in which you will continue to change as well. You have it all in you at the moment to grow and to keep learning, and that is the path. I'd seen a thing yesterday which I thought was really interesting, and it said, there's a reason, I can't remember the exact words, but it was, stop looking into the past, because there's a reason why the rear view mirror is small and the windscreen is really large, and it's because, like I say, you don't want to know what's behind you. You want to know what's in front of you, and you see the bigger picture with that. And I thought that was quite sweet. I do like it. So like I say, this is saying it is really a time for growth for you, and it's a time for you to, I don't want to say grow up, because I always say, be more childlike, but it is growing up in a sense. But if we have a look at this card, there's a white glow around this figure as well. And what this is it's protection. He has his protection there from spirit, but it's also his light, and it's his light now shining. His aura is strong, and this is, our auras are also a protection for us as well. So everything that he has experienced has brought him to this time of pretty much perfection. That's it. It's like, yeah, you've got it going on here. So when this card appears, it says that you will be gifted for all of your hard work as well. And you are at a time where you can set a solid and, a solid base. Success and good fortune are yours. They're there, and it's like you've already experienced some of this, and this is from within as well. So that by growing through your troubles, that it is your time to bloom as well. And when we start to live authentically, like I say, it can be a struggle at first. It really, really can, because it's like a birth, it's like a rebirth. And if we think about any sort of birth, the labor is the hard part, and this is when you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and you're worn out, and you're like screaming and all of that. But once, that new life is actually out, and once it is birthed, this is when, right, okay, I've been through the hard work here, and this is when I can start, and this is when I start learning and experiencing and all of that. So this is a massive, massive gift that has been given. So when Osho talks about this card, what he says is that the distinction between the grasses and the blossoms is the same as between you not knowing that you are a Buddha and the moment you now know that you are a Buddha. In fact, there is no way to be otherwise. Buddha is completely blossomed, fully opened. His lotuses, his petals have come to a completion. His lotuses, the lotuses actually within it, the lotuses signify strength as well, and the petals signify like different sort of aspects of yourself as well, because within this growth you actually realize a lot about yourself as well. I was talking the other day about a book by Eckhart Tolle called A New Earth. If anybody hasn't read it, please read it. It was it's a life changer. It really, really did change my life. I read it thinking I would learn more about other people, and it taught me so much about myself, so it was a very humbling moment. Quite a hard book to get into initially, but please stick with it, get through the first chapter, and it is worth it, and it will be massively beneficial within your life as well. So what this is saying, sorry, back to the card, I keep going off on tangents today. So this is, Osho is saying within this that certainly to be full of spring yourself is far more beautiful than the autumn dew falling on the lotus leaves. That is one of the most beautiful things to watch, when autumn dew falls on the lotus leaves and shine in the morning sun like real pearls. But of course, it's a momentary experience. As the sun rises, the autumn dew starts to evaporate. This temporary beauty cannot be compared, certainly, with the eternal spring in your being. You look back as far as you can and you realize that it's always been there. Even when you were this lion, amongst the sheep, you still had this within you, and when you look forward, don't be surprised, because it will be there. It is your very being. And like I say, once you've woke up, once your eyes have opened, you cannot unsee. So it's very easy when you don't know, but once you know, it's very hard to go back. So with this card, this is saying to look forward. Sorry, the dog's crying there. To look forward as much as you can, and wherever you are, you will see this eternal spring within yourself. The flowers will continue to grow around you, and this is a spiritual spring. So very beautiful cards them, and I keep looking at this one, and we've even got the daisy there. If we have a look at the daisy, I'm being alerted to that, and there's the middle of the daisy there seems to be very third eye like. Now, for years and years, I've always said that daisies make me happy. When I'm sad, I go and sit among the daisies, and it's just the simplicity of them. But like I say, there's something here about like I say, you're going within here, you're growing within and going within. But it's like I say, use your third eye here, because it's not just your normal eyes that have opened. I really feel that your third eye has as well, which this is when you connect. This is where your psychic ability comes from. This is where, when you tune into that and you see what that has to show you, this is when you will be guided, So when we grow, we also grow spiritually as well. And there's nothing we can do to stop that, and sometimes it's a hard task, but it's always very, very rewarding in the end. I always say that it's like, being psychic, it's sort of a blessing and a curse as well, because sometimes you just can't shut off and you see things that you don't want to see, and so sometimes you have to block yourself a little bit. But it's like I say, it's more of a blessing, I feel. So within them cards today, really look at, are you living your life authentically? Do you want to? What is stopping you from doing it? Because as Charles Bukowski says there, when you meet a free soul, you will feel good around them, and you should be feeling that within yourself as well. Because once you are free, that is when you start to feel that, and once the sort of the rules, the regulations, the stuff like that all start to drop away. I'm not saying go out and, be absolutely ridiculous. There are some rules that are there for our own safety, So it's like, don't go and drive on the right side of the road, because that isn't cool. But but look at them and see which ones work for you and which ones don't, you know. So it's, like I say, a real nice feeling with that, but I feel that there's quite a strong message in that. I feel in a little way that spirit have sort of give you a telling off. It's like, you know, when your mom sits you down and goes, right, okay, I need to talk to you, you know, and it's like, right, okay, something's coming here. But please try to take in what those cards said. I do hope that they made some sense. I never really know what I'm saying in these videos until I watch them back. So I do hope that they made sense, because I was just given, you know, what was coming through, and I feel what was needed to be known. Okay, so I hope you have a fabulous day. I'll be back tomorrow with an oracle card of today. I do have availability for readings today. If anybody would like a reading or a reading this week, then please get in touch. I have a 10% offer on because of the Halloween. So please get in touch via my Facebook page, which is Love Buddha Tarot Readings, and I can point you in the right direction. Or if you go to my website, which I'll put the link below, there is a full page on there that if you just click on that, it will take you through to PayPal. So all payments are secure as well. And I will get an email informing me that you've booked a reading, and then I will be straight in touch to arrange a convenient time. Okay, so have an absolutely fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Satnam. Right, for some reason, my video won't switch.